pretty obvious that chickens' eyes are located on the sides of their heads, whereas humans have our eyes on the front of our face. This gives chickens a much wider field of vision than we have. In fact, humans can only see things in about a 180-degree arc, but chickens can see 300 degrees around them because they can see with each eye independently. Seeing a different field of vision with each eye is called monocular vision. This wide field of vision is very useful for watching out for predators. We humans have our eyes facing forward, so we have a smaller field of view, but our two eyes work together in what's called binocular vision, and this has the advantage of allowing us to judge distances better. If we want to look at something off to one side, we can swivel our eyeballs in their sockets without moving our head. But chickens can hardly move their eyeballs in their sockets at all. If they want to see something at the edge of their field of vision, they need to move their whole head. Not that this is much of a problem for a chicken. Even though you can swivel your eyes, it's still easier to sneak up behind you than sneak up behind a chicken, since they already see 300-degree arc around them. Her monocular vision means that what a chicken sees with her left eye is quite different to what she sees with her right eye. What's more, chickens have developed a talent for using each eye not only independently, but for specialized purposes. Right before a chick hatches, it turns inside its shell and tucks its head underneath its right wing, ready to poke a hole into the air shell. That means its right eye is next to the shell and its left eye is covered by its body, and this causes different development of the left and right eyes. Once the chick hatches, that right eye develops near-sightedness and the left eye develops far-sightedness. So a chicken will use her right eye for searching for bugs and tasty morsels on the ground close to her, while at the same time using her left eye to keep a lookout for danger. This is obviously very useful for a chicken who is not only a carnivore but also potential prey for larger predators. And you might be able to see this in action. If a bird of prey flies over your chicken, she will usually tilt her head so that her left eye is the one looking up to the sky. Chickens have better motion sensing ability than humans. In their retina are some special structures called double cones. Most birds have these double cones, but mammals, including humans, don't have them. These double cones enable the chicken to perceive movements that are too fast for us to see. You can appreciate how important it is to detect movement by looking at this video. There's a predator in full view, but it's very hard to see him until he moves. And it's important to chickens to see a quickly approaching predator and also to be able to see quickly escaping insects. But because chickens can see such quick movements, their eyes are not fooled like ours are by the rapid pulsations of light in fluorescent tubes. We think these lights are simply glowing steadily, but to a chicken's eyes they are pulsing on and off like a strobe light. Imagine how annoying it could be if you put fluorescent lights in the chicken house. Please don't do that. But one thing we humans are good at that chickens are not is seeing in low light. Our eyes have cones for seeing colour and rods for seeing well in low light, like at dawn and dusk. We all know that cats see better in the dark than we do, and one of the reasons for that is because they have lots more rods than we do. Chickens' eyes do have a few rods, but much fewer than even humans, so their ability to see in low light is not nearly as good as ours. This makes chickens easy prey for nighttime prowlers, so always make sure your chickens are safely locked up at night. They're usually pretty keen to head off to their chicken house at night without any persuasion or bribes. This poor night vision also makes them easy to handle when it's dim. If your chickens are not fond of being handled, then early evening when they're up on the perch is the easiest time to get hold of them, maybe to administer medicine or check how soon a pullet might start laying. A rather odd thing about chickens' eyes is the way their eyelids work. You don't often see a healthy chicken blink. They do blink, but often so quickly that we just don't see it. When a chicken is sleepy or sick, they blink more slowly, so it's more obvious to us. The grey chicken here, her name is Agnes, is undergoing her annual molt and feeling a bit off colour because of it. You can clearly see her blinking frequently, whereas the red chicken, Rosie, is still laying and feeling her usual self, and she hardly seems to blink at all. When we close our eyes, we move our top eyelid down towards our bottom lid, and we hardly move the bottom lid at all. But chickens move their bottom eyelid up towards their top lid and hardly move their upper lid at all. Chickens also have a third eyelid called a nictitating membrane. It's a semi-transparent membrane underneath her eyelids, and rather than going up and down, it slides sideways across the eye from the front corner of her eye. She uses it like we use blinking. It helps clean her eyeball and protect her eye from dust and dirt. You'll probably see her close her nictitating membrane when she's dust bathing. Baby chicks are pretty helpless when they hatch, but it doesn't take them long to get up and going. And as soon as they can move around, they can see very clearly. In less than 2 days, they can see as well as an adult chicken, including being able to accurately locate and peck at little crumbs of what they hope might be food. Human babies and most mammals have pretty hazy vision and rely on their mother to provide, but baby chicks have very good eyesight. There have even been studies to show that baby chicks have colour preferences. They prefer red and orange rather than green or blue. And that brings us to colour. Yes, chickens see in colour. In fact, they see more colours than we do. We can see in colour because we have 3 kinds of specialised cones in our retina. The cones contain opsin proteins which are sensitive to light at different wavelengths. The red and green opsins, whose genes are carried on the human X chromosome, are very similar to each other. The other opsin we have is sensitive to blue light. All of the colours that we interpret are made up of various mixtures of light of red, green or blue wavelengths. Humans are rather unusual in having both red and green opsins as well as blue. That makes us what's called trichromatic. Most mammals, including dogs and even many primates, have only 2. They are called dichromatic. Imagine a world where we could see blue and green, but not red. How useful it is to be able to just see when an apple is ripe. But chickens, as with most birds, take it to a whole new level. Chickens have tetrachromatic colour vision. They are sensitive to red, green and blue light just like us, but they also have cones sensitive to the very short violet and even ultraviolet wavelengths. Chickens and other birds can use the ultraviolet gradation of the sky to see which way is north, just as easily as we can see which direction the sunlight is coming from. Seeing ultraviolet doesn't just mean that they see more colours than we do. It means they see everything differently. What looks to us to be the same colour can look very different when the ultraviolet colour is also taken into account. If we look at feathers using a light source that enables us to see reflected ultraviolet light, we find that most feathers have some ultraviolet colouring. Even when the male and female birds look the same in our colour spectrum, they can look very different when the ultraviolet spectrum is included. Chickens see those differences that we can't see. The down of a healthy baby chick reflects more ultraviolet than a chick who is not so well. The mother hen can tell just by looking. The healthy chick glows in ultraviolet. Does the mother hen who pushes an egg out of the nest see something different about its ultraviolet colour that tells her it won't hatch successfully? Who knows? I wonder what my ultraviolet reflection looks like. You probably know that the amount of light that a chicken is exposed to affects their egg laying. During the long, bright days of summer, they lay more eggs than in the short, dull days of winter. But did you know that this is true even if the chicken is blind? She can sense light reaching her pineal gland right through her skull. The pineal gland is located under her skull in the middle of her forehead. It's part of her endocrine system, which produces various hormones. In the case of the pineal gland, it releases melatonin in response to periods of darkness and switches off melatonin release on exposure to light. And the chicken's skull is thin enough so that this organ can sense light and darkness right through the skin and bone. So even a blind chicken still responds to the seasonal change of light by coming into lay in the spring. Humans have a pineal gland too, and it has the same function of releasing melatonin, but ours is located right in the centre of our skull where no light can penetrate. So it relies on information from the retina of our eyes to tell it how much light there is. And if all of this is making you wonder how beautiful you look to your chickens, then you might be surprised to know that it's about as beautiful as you look to other people. A study in 2002 tested the preference of chickens for human faces. Surprisingly enough, the chickens showed the same preference for symmetrical faces that humans do. It was a small study, and maybe we can't read too much into the results, but perhaps chickens just don't appreciate the art of Pablo Picasso. I hope you enjoyed learning about the sight of chickens. Thanks for watching.